Hi there, I'm Victor Snyders, CEO of Skin Renewal. In our business, we have a culture of continuous learning, and part of that is reading a lot of books. So at each of our offices, we have a library, which is an open library to any of the staff. And invariably, whenever a staff member comes and sits down with me to discuss some kind of problem that they're having, they walk out of the room with a book. Over the years, I've kept a list of all of these books, and I have a top 10 books that you need to read before you die. They cover a broad range of subjects.
At Skin Renewal, we combine doctor-led care, cutting-edge technology, and a holistic approach to deliver personalized solutions that truly transform your skin. Just what you need right now.
Book number one, and probably the most important, is The Alchemist by Paulo Cohelo. It's a book which I try to read at least every 2 years. It's a fairly short book. You can read it easily on a Saturday afternoon. And the book is an entire metaphor for life's journey. And every time that you read the book, you will see something different that pertains to where you are on your journey at that time. I just found it a very inspirational book. A lot of our staff members have read it, and many who have read it have come back afterwards to say that they found the answers they were looking for in the story. A very, very worthwhile book. If anyone who hasn't read it really should read. Book number two is Maverick by Ricardo Semlar. Ricardo Semlar is a British businessman who studied at Harvard University and then went back to Brazil to take over Semco, which was a business that was started by his father, which operated across multiple industries in Brazil. When he had to take over the business, Brazil was racked with corruption, it was racked with labor disputes, it had sky-high inflation rates, and countless problems that the economy was going through. And what Ricardo Semlar did was essentially take everything he'd learned at Harvard, trashed it in the bin, and decided to run the company in a completely different way. Hence the name of the book, Maverick. I read it about 25 years ago, and it has really formed the foundation of a lot of our management philosophy, whereby we tend to do things differently. A great book for business management to set you on what I believe is the right course. Book number three is Sapiens by Yuval Harari, which is really the history of the human species. And in reading that book, you will gain a far deeper appreciation of culture and how people have become what they are due to the cultures that they live in. Although it's a book which is based on anthropology, it's actually not a difficult read because the entire book is told as a story. There's also an absolutely wonderful comic that comes out as well, which I've given to my grandkids and tells the same story as Sapiens does. But the book is really obligatory reading for anyone who's interested in people and culture. Book number four is Behave by Dr. Robert Sapolsky. It's really a book about brain function. The first third of the book is rather hard going because it really has to teach the viewer how to understand the human brain and how all the different parts of the brain work and how they influence our behavior. What the book then does is show how during the development phase, which is from the fetal stage to the age of 27, and the brain fully develops during this period, how facing trauma, lack of education, malnourishment, all sorts of problems during the developmental stage may affect the behavior of the person that is there. It gives you a very, very deep insight into why people are the way that they are and may not think exactly the same way as you or behave not the same way as you, and instead teaches you to respect that people do come from a different place and their background and origin will really affect the way they behave towards you and give you a far greater degree of empathy in dealing with people. Book number five is Factfullness by Rosling. a Swedish doctor who worked for the World Health Organization for many years, and really takes a lot of the ideas that you think are real in the world today and turns them on their head to show you what the facts actually are behind them. The book starts with a 13-question quiz, which has been given to students at MIT. It's been given at Davos, at the Economic Summit every year, given at most major universities. And I think the best result ever at any of these institutions is that people got 5 out of 13 questions correctly. It's presented in a really nice way. And you can also follow a lot of his talks on YouTube, where they are animated, and you will see how the things you think about life and that you think about our planet have actually changed significantly over the course of the last 50, 60 years. Book number 6 is probably my favorite book by Malcolm Gladwell, which is Outliers. It was written nearly 20 years ago and is still relevant today, and really just deals with anyone who is not average and becomes an outlier, therefore being different, what creates outliers and what sort of effect do they have. It's a book which we've read many, many times, and thankfully in Skin Renewal we employ a lot of outliers. Book number 7 is The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. It's really a book about personal development. It's a story about a real-life story, semi-autobiographical by Dan Millman, who was a contender to go to the Olympics in one of the trampolining events and then broke his back and was not able to compete in the Olympics. And it's the story of how he shifted his life after he'd been faced with great adversity by meeting a guy at a petrol station one evening called Socrates, and the effect that Socrates had on his life and gave him a complete new lease on life. Very inspirational book. If you've had to face great challenges in your life, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior will certainly give you an interesting way to deal with that. Book number 8 is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. A very, very important book for anyone to read who has to manage their finances, whether it's at the individual level, whether it's at a corporate level, but it teaches you a lot of things about running your financial affairs better and really tackles the psychology behind it. Very, very important book. It's been given to a lot of our staff members to sort out their own finances and always proved to be very valuable. Book number 9 is Why by Simon Sinek, which really was an exercise that we did, funnily enough, prior to Simon Sinek actually writing the book, but it's the why behind why you do a business. And why you do a business is generally not about the money. There has to be a higher purpose, and finding that higher purpose to your business is what Simon Sinek helps you do. It's anyone who's looking to start a business, this is virtually obligatory reading. The last book is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, who actually was a Nobel Prize winner as well, I think, for Thinking Fast and Slow. Most of the thinking that we do is fast thinking. It's automatic reactions, it's our gut feel, it's the way we react to any situation. Thinking slow is actually very often the answer to coming up with the right answers, which are not the knee-jerk reactions, but allow you to think about things differently. A great, great book, and teaches you to measure your responses before you answer something, instead of just answering it off the cuff. So those are the 10 books, and anyone who is selected as one of our prize winners will have a choice of any one of those 10 books, which we will send to you with the greatest of pleasure. In the meantime, I hope everyone else enjoys the books on our list of the 10 books you need to read before you die.